All right, so hi and welcome to Dice Voyeurs. This is John, and I'm here with...
Roxy.
And I am also here with today, our guest and returning is Sam.
Hello.
So we just finished watching the trailers for The Room, or not The Room, what is that?
The Disaster Artist.
The Disaster Artist, which is James Franco's new movie that is based on The Room.
The making thereof.
Oh, so wonderful. I look forward to it. I'm probably the only one.
Yes, you are the only one.
I think people are looking forward to making fun of how bad that movie was by laughing at how bad the making of it was. But
I'm surprised he can still hold his head up in public.
he's making a new movie.
Yeah, he's actually coming out with a new one. The original guy is making Tommy Wiseau.
Wiseau, yeah.
Is making another movie.
Oh, Jesus.
Of course, that's not why we're here.
That is not why.
No, we're here to talk about dice and food, and we're all drinking ourselves, and we had our coffee earlier. Switched over to soda.
We're waiting for our pizza.
Waiting for pizza. We actually ordered the pizza from a rather appropriate place. It's Jackpot Pizza or whatever.
Yeah, Jackpot Pizza, and everything is named. It's casino themed, so you have your double down and your re-raise.
Yep, and the straight flush.
And I think that's why they have rolls.
That's great.
That's very subtle.
They might not. That could just be me being smarter than they are, but they should.
Absolutely.
They should. All their appetizers should have little dice by them.
Yeah. Now there we go. That we need to go market that to them.
I'm gonna go apply for their graphic designer and promoter. That's me.
Here we go. We've also been sitting here and having some Yancey's Fancy Hatch Chili Natural Aged Cheddar Cheese.
Yancey's Fancy.
Which has been kind of fun. And I picked that one because of the dice I want to do later. But so today instead, we're going to be doing one of Roxy's sets of dice. But before we get there, we of course have some trivia.
I was wondering if you had a new trivia fact.
I do have a new trivia fact. This one is definitely easier than the last one. So, why do they call dice rolling bones?
Because they used to be made out of bones.
I want to say that's what I've heard. They were made out of sheep knuckles or something like that.
That is, yeah, absolutely.
Sheep knuckles?
Yeah.
I didn't know sheeps had knuckles.
I really didn't either, but I guess...
Isn't that a fashion faux pas?
They also have organs and hair.
Well, I knew they
skin.
I knew they had all that. We eat all those parts. No.
Sheep knuckle as opposed to moose knuckle,
Well, yeah. Well, I guess my thought was... am I wrong? Are sheeps not hooved?
Oh, I don't. I think they have...
Do they have toes?
They
Are
must.
they one of the ones that have two?
Yes,
don't some beasts have hooves and toes over
cloven hooves, maybe? But that's not my area of expertise.
Or is knuckles just another term for a joint?
I think it's probably a toe joint of some sort. But so Knucklebones the sheep was actually an enterprise. They actually mass-produced these somehow in ancient Greece.
Poor sheep.
Yeah. Mass production of something called sheep's knuckles, I'm sure, just meant a lot of slaughtering and breeding. So very short, fun existence.
And I'm guessing that,
ending in blood.
Mutton and other things were also lamb chops. Those were probably pretty popular at that time too. They had to do something with it.
Now I want Greek.
Oh.
What era was this?
That is actually a great question. I don't have the answer to.
Oh, well,
probably ancient Greece.
Probably because the thing is that they had two different kinds of dice. They actually had four-sided dice because the ends were not cut off. And then they also had six-sided dice. And they were called tali and tesserae, respectively.
Oh, tesserae. Tesseract.
Yeah. Isn't that what from Thor? Isn't that what they ended up calling that one?
That's the cube, yeah.
Yeah, that's the big cube.
Well, that's cool. And so they say that rolling the bones has been the popular term for rolling dice up until the last century or so, and then it's kind of fallen out of favor.
Well, look at me not conforming to the norm. Because I don't think I've ever called it a bone or rolling a bone or rolling bones.
Well, yeah, like I said, the last century. I wasn't around there either.
Well, one would hope.
I wasn't here a century ago, but I was here in the last century.
Oh, well, true.
I was born in the last part.
True.
I want to say they had dice. They have found dice in Egypt.
They have,
yeah. Like in tombs and stuff. They have unearthed.
So it's been around for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Gambling.
And so...
And chance, casting lots.
Yeah. But rolling the bones, some of the more famous cases of rolling the bones has always been gambling over usually property and things that people have supposedly rolled dice for. Richard the Lionheart, supposedly, there's speculation, that he actually rolled dice to see who would get a castle once. You have Henry VIII, who also supposedly gambled over the St. Paul Church bell. And
I can believe that. Henry VIII did all kinds of things.
yeah. And ancient traditions in Asia, they would often roll dice to see who would get haunted by spirits of the family, which I don't think is such a winning thing to end up getting.
So,
That's where you want to roll really, really low.
Yeah.
so would
Don't
they
get a 20.
Would they
'cause
roll?
Then you get 2 spirits.
That's right. Would they roll before, like I'm on my deathbed, I'm gonna roll dice to see which of you gets to deal with me for the rest
No,
of time?
I think it was...
Or after they were being haunted and oppressed by
Yeah.
this spiritual entity, they were like, "Okay, we're invoking the bones rolling rule,
Yep.
where if I roll better than this, you got to leave me alone and mess with my sister."
I think it has to do with the ancestral point where basically, here's the dice roll. Oh, yeah, you're the one who gets the haunting. You're the one that gets the castle or whatever. Yeah.
Guess who's
God,
going
that
to be
would
cut
suck.
out of the will?
Yeah.
And so, but people are crazy, but hey, it's dice.
Yep.
And so we have some new dice to bring out today. In fact, this dice comes from my wife and part of her collection because we kind of talked about it in our last show.
So yeah, we did mention this briefly in our last show. We were talking about certain things. So here, these are my hematite dice.
Ooh.
And they're tiny. They have the different sizes. I think standard dice.
I think those are 16 millimeter. And
What are Chessex standard dice?
Just as an interesting side note, hematite uses the root word for blood, hematology.
Yeah.
And it was blood red stone. That's where it comes
Interesting.
from.
So I wonder what happens to it then to make it this.
I don't know. Maybe it was like a shiny
Polished.
red color.
Well, I mean, this is polished, but
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen, but the
maybe naturally it has kind of a darker red color.
Probably
kind of
has
a,
veins of it. But of course, everyone wants the black color, so.
Well, the sizes that
Yeah.
I'm finding that Chessex dice
about an
usually
inch.
comes in is a 12 millimeter, 16 millimeter, or 50 millimeter.
I think the 50 millimeter is essentially the inch die.
And so the 12 millimeter and 16 millimeter would probably be closer to what this is.
Or would that? Because only 2 centimeters.
Oh my God, it's European measurements. I don't know what to do.
I still have this
I'm
stupid
lost.
imperial system. But anyway, I picked these up at Texas Renaissance Festival last year. There was a dice purveyor, and well, I say dice purveyor. They were actually selling incense and little incense burners, like bottle burners and stuff like that. They were actually really cool looking. I also bought a little leather case that I keep my mini in now when I go to game. I have a little. It's a very small, just about the size for a mini, and a wad of paper towel so your mini doesn't get broke up in the
Did
in
they
the
also
transport.
sell patchouli oil?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It
That's
was
real big with the hippies.
Yeah, well, we all got to have something to do. But then they also sold these. They sold 12 millimeter and 16 millimeter. I believe these are 16 millimeter.
That probably.
I don't know.
I'm surprised they got the numbers in there because, I mean, they don't look like they've really been used, but they are chipped.
Yeah, on the way home, because I put them in the little box, which it's uncovered wood on the inside, and yeah, it chipped corners up bad. So I have used these. I've actually rolled the D20 a couple times in game, but you can see on the corners that it is chipped off and it's rougher, and so I keep them in a little baggie.
But so hematite is actually a precious gem. So is the D20, I mean, my thought is, I think like the D20 from hematite is actually heavier than the normal size D20, or is it about the same weight?
Oh, well, let me get one out and compare.
The
'Cause
hematite feels heavier.
They are definitely heavier.
Resin isn't nearly as heavy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's
it is
completely
definitely
different.
heavier.
I mean, the resin D20 almost feels the same weight as, I think even the D6 is heavier than the D resin.
So definitely a different aesthetic overall that way, and obviously they are polished.
They are polished. It's a high gloss. Well, except for the parts that have now chipped or scratched. It is a high gloss standard hematite look. It's got the kind of
dark steel, not so much chrome.
No, yeah, not at all chrome. It's the darker silver, the gray, and then it's got imprinted numbers that are painted red.
Which the D12, the numbers on some of the faces are not in the middle, and you can actually see where the guy didn't get a perfect
set on it,
basically. But you can see that the Pentagon isn't exactly Pentagon.
Isn't
but I mean, he did it by hand, presumably.
Yeah, I assume somebody is carving these somewhere. I would guess. this.
Yep.
So
They
you
had
may
all
get-
kinds of.
So you may get accused of throwing bad dice.
Yeah. So
Not yet.
our table. I defy my table to tell me that
No
that I'm not
joke.
rolling. Yeah, there's been some definite roll fudges in our time. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, I got it.
I got it. Let me
I
hear.
got it.
But anyway, I don't use them in game. I thought it was cool to pick up some dice at Ren Fair, and I don't buy a lot at Ren Fair. I don't generally dress up for Ren Fair.
It's way too expensive.
It's very expensive, and so I was like, you know what? The one thing I'm going to buy besides that mug of mead is going to be this.
That massive turkey leg. No, these are definitely dice that you would have to roll, would be best rolled like on a bit of fabric or something.
Yeah,
yeah.
if you're not using, which I'm
Or
using,
felt would be better, yeah.
this rubber foam is not too bad, but no, it can't be rolled on a table. I've made that mistake, and I think, like I said, I've maybe rolled them a handful of times besides when I just dumped them out here, but I keep them in a little plastic baggie to
So
keep
they
them
can
from knocking
bump
into...
up against each other, chipping them further.
Well, it's better than
In a giant dice bag.
in
yeah.
the giant dice bag going everywhere.
They're so small. They're so
They're
cute.
BBs.
They are. And they're-
Yeah.
That, you know, it's a neat little
I feel
thing
like
to
they
have.
were expensive.
Well, I know that
like
you
they're-
can acquire Hematite dice from the Dice Shop. That is literally the name of the company. They have an online store. And if you go to their store, it's all in pounds. And the base price for this, just the D20, is 10 pounds.
Ah.
Yeah.
10 pounds
Well,
sterling.
Yeah, so I did not spend almost $20 on that. That's about $15 to $20.
Yeah. No, we didn't end up spending that much. And
It might be less than that now. When I was traveling overseas, the exchange rate was stupid. It was very...
Yep.
It's been fluctuating.
now they have a Hematite 16 millimeter set. That is a 7 dice poly set. That one is 40 pounds.
See, I think I spent $40.
Yeah.
35 maybe.
And if it's a British or English, however you phrase it, then chances are you're gonna have to pay for shipping.
And you're...
That will add on to it.
And if it's not packaged well, if they're chipping just in
Yeah.
carrying it around
'Cause
in a
we've-
dice bag.
We all know they're the paragons of gentleness and
Oh, yes.
kindness.
In the post office.
the freight people.
Well, and that's one thing that I have read. I won't name them here, but one thing, because these would probably be considered kind of an artisan style dice. It's not your typical material. So maybe not artisan, but it's going to be more of a premium dice set, even though it is a smaller size. But there is a company out there, their reviews for shipping overseas are very poor because they use materials that are easily damaged in packaging and handling. So
So your best bet is to track down a Renaissance fair, look for the people in the strange gypsy cart, and buy your dice
yeah,
from
they
them.
were really, it was literally the first or second thing that I stopped at this past year, and then I was done. I was like, okay, I've spent my money.
Follow the smell of incense and patchouli oil,
Yep.
and you will find.
And I'm pretty sure all the women in the cart were, calling out, because that's one thing at Ren Fair. They do find people that
Have
will.
good voices.
Oh, I thought you were saying they
Callers-
stereotyped us and said, hey, they'd like dice.
Yeah, those nerds. They look like nerds. No, they're dressed up like pirates. They're idiots. Buy our wares for too much money, and it's going to chip on you on the way out the door. No, I can't. They have good people, like Barkers, I guess. Is
Oh,
what
yeah,
I'm thinking
yeah.
of.
Oh, yeah,
They're
yeah.
calling you in. The Ren Fair always has good people out there luring you into places. But
Buying their expensive stuff.
yeah, I'm trying to think if they had wooden dice, but I think all they had was metal, because they
I
had
think
copper.
that one was only
They
metal.
had copper and bronze. I mean, they had some heavier.
I've seen dice that are metal, made
Yeah.
of metal, like bronze and copper, and they look really interesting, and they're heavy, and they have lots of sharp, pointy things. So
Yeah,
pointy corners.
Again,
Yeah.
right in the forehead.
Yeah.
Leave a nice little D8.
What happened to you, Sam? Oh, someone rage quit. But he got a 20. Can you tell?
It's very well printed, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hey, guys, thank you all so much for joining us at Dice Voyeurs. And remember, show me your dice, and I'll show you mine.
Bye, guys.
This has been a production of the Southgate Media Group. For more podcasts like this one, head over to southgatemediagroup.com.